Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Can you hear me okay?
The microphone thing.
Can you hear me okay?
Can you hear me, Peter?
Yes.
Ah, I can't hear you.
Hold on. You should be able to hear me now. Have you got your microphone? Have you got your volume switched up? I'm speaking. I can hear.
What it was before.
We'll see what happens when others join.
Getting better. What about that one there?
You got your volume up?
This might help. Have another go, Peter.
Can you hear me now?
Ah, gotcha.
Okay.
Loud and clear, Captain.
Okay. We've now got.
Come aboard the Starship Enterprise.
Yep.
Sorry.
No, this is the bunker. What we've got is we're now live streamed at the moment. So we're just waiting for everyone to come on board. The meeting itself will start at 7:30 p.m.
Right, yeah.
Everyone to come up. Okay, I've got iPad guests. I'm not sure who that is. I think that's Jan. I'll unmute her.
Can you hear me?
You certainly can, Jan. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I can. Can you see me?
Not yet. We're just going to turn on your.
That's all right. Let me have a look.
Just
Is it start video? Yeah.
yeah, start video.
Hang on, start video.
Yeah, we've got you on.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Me. That's the first.
You've done very well.
Yeah, I have. I thought, well, it's not early. It'll probably take me 3 attempts.
We'll have to get you changing your name from iPad guest.
Yeah.
At some stage.
Don't expect anything too much. No, then.
No, we've got Dave Lewis coming in.
Evening, Jan, by the way.
Good evening. How are you, Mike?
Very good, thank you.
Good. Been enjoying the sunshine?
Yeah, fine, lovely.
Yeah.
We've got Dave, we've got your picture, but we've got no audio microphone for you. Not seeing any microphone come up yet. Hopefully you can hear us.
Can you hear it now?
Dave, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Dave's there.
Just turn my. Oh, what's happened?
Very small.
Hang on, you're gone.
All right, Dave's microphone's coming up. I'm going to try and switch him on now. Okay, he's unmuted. So hopefully any second now he'll come up. We'll get a few more people on, but we're okay. Live at the moment.
Evening, David.
Hello. So we're having a bit of lag on communications coming on board on the communication side of things. Okay, we've got Francis coming in now as well. Okay, Mike Joblin's coming in. All right, everyone's just taking their times to come in. Francis is there. He's on a phone call.
Lovely.
Mike Joblin's there.
I'm here.
Okay,
Yep.
cheers. Bye. Bye.
Okay.
Bye,
All right,
everyone.
hi, we're all live.
Hi, Francis.
The
Good.
streaming is live at the moment, so
Can you hear me okay? Is the volume enough?
yeah, oh yeah, your volume's loud enough, thanks.
Good. Too loud, I'll shut it down.
Okay, we're just waiting on 2 more. Now, as I said, we are live streaming on YouTube at the moment. Meet starts at past, and hopefully we'll have everyone on and working by then. I'm just going to mute myself to make sure one of the people I need to get on comes on. No, he's gone again. So he'll be back in a minute. We're just waiting for Mark Caton to join us. Hopefully he'll join us in a minute. Hopefully everyone's been enjoying their days in the sun. And
Very much so.
I'm looking forward to going back to work, those who have to.
No
Gillian,
thanks.
What's work?
No.
Gillian looks frozen. Is Gillian frozen?
No, sorry, I've
You
just tried
look-
to out my sound. Oh, I am frozen.
Ah, he just looked, gone into frozen.
Yeah, I think so. I was connecting my earphones. I don't think it can cope with both things at the same time.
Right. So we're coming up. We've got, I'm just going to go mute again. Because he did, one of the people I wanted to come up hasn't come up yet. So I need to call him, see if he's having any problems with the system. Right, we've got Martin coming up.
Hello, hello.
Oops, unmute. Hello, Martin. Hi. Oh, you gone for the tropical. I've gone for the bunker look.
Me?
Martin, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can just about hear you.
Okay. I see you've gone for that tropical look.
Yeah.
I decided to go for the bunker.
Yeah.
Right, so we're just waiting. Mark Caton yet, he's coming in. So hopefully his audio, and then we can get started. We're coming up to past.
Evening.
Good evening.
Where are we
Evening.
tonight, Peter?
Okay, we've got everyone.
Hi, Alan. Are you okay?
Right. Oh, we got
Right,
Margaret Dewsbury coming.
Okay. Well, we're just about to start, so just give me a tick, and I will give you that.
Just muted Francis at the moment. I've learned from last week, it picks up everything that we say. So we'll just wait for Margaret to come in. Hopefully Margaret can hear us. Just wait for her audio to come in. Let's have a look. Alan Mole is coming in. Okay. So Alan is just unmute Alan, and we've got Margaret there, but we've got no audio for her at the moment. So hopefully Alan will be joining us shortly.
Okay, hi.
Alan, are you on with us?
I am with you.
Okay. Hopefully Margaret can actually hear us. She's not able to speak at the moment. It may just be that there's a bit of a delay in her internet catching up on the audio side of things. Hopefully we'll be able to get her shortly. Right. So it's now just after past, and we are live, as I said, on YouTube. I do want to start with a small statement. As we start this meeting, I would like to remind the community that everyone on the parish council is a volunteer and gives up their free time to support our community with no financial recompense. We have at present 2 vacancies on the parish council, and they have been advertised since June 2019. If you are interested in becoming a parish councillor, please contact our clerk, Francis, who will provide you further information. Okay, so welcome everyone who's attending. We've got a couple of guests, and we've got one apology tonight, and that is from Mark Cordy. For personal reasons, he can't be with us, as I think you're all aware. So now we have the opportunity of, not saying that I twisted someone's arm, I think that was the expression some of you gave, of co-opting a new parish councillor. And his name is Martin Betts, who's with us this evening. Martin, would you like to tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Peter. I am a journalist, communications manager, and I currently work for a creative design agency in Norwich. My background is has always been in journalism and writing, and is at the moment in social media and communications. I currently lead the design agency I work for. I lead on their property and construction portfolio, so I know a little bit about residential developers, and also know a wee bit about buyer behaviour and what makes residential developments profitable. I've recently had my son going through the transition from Easton St Peter's Primary Academy to high school, and it's opened my eyes up to the problems that people in the village face getting their children from Easton St Peter's into their local high school within their catchment, and it's really highlighted the issues that we have there. And though Peter may have twisted my arm somewhat, I'd like to come on board the council and try and help as much as possible in trying to help the children of Easton and those who go to Easton St Peter's Primary to get into a high school that is close by to them, and make sure that they are not overlooked and forced into schools that are failing and are miles away from where they live.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Martin. Now, checked out the rules because this is, we've got vacancies, but no one else is applying to fill those vacancies. What we are allowed to do is co-opt people onto our parish council, and certainly at this moment in time, because there's no elections allowed to be held. So what I want to do is first open to yourselves if you want to ask Martin any questions, and if I start, I'll go round names. Mike, have you got anything, Mike Bowman, anything you want to ask of Martin?
No. Good evening, Martin.
Evening.
Not really. You know, he's given us a nice background, and really, what we do need is something coordination between the school so that we can keep more abreast of it. And Martin obviously seems to fit the bill in that sort of situation, if that's what you have in mind for him. So I think a very good idea, and you know, from my point of view, welcome to the club, if you like.
Yeah. Yes, welcome to the club. Michael had his arm twisted, so to speak.
Well, actually, it's called Press Gang, I think. I think that was that went out years ago.
Dave Lewis, have you any questions you want to ask?
No, I've had nothing to do with education for about 20 years now, so
Okay,
really contribute, I'm afraid.
all right. Jan, would you like to introduce yourself and ask any questions of Martin?
I'm Jan Hudson. I live at 1 Woodview Road, Easton. Been on the council for several years now. I can't remember how many, but it's several. Yes, I would like to ask Martin a question. I hope Peter twisting his arm was not the only reason why he wants to come to council.
No, I think I had a number of conversations with Peter on email and on telephone, and I basically have a passion for getting the kids from this village into the high school that they deserve to go to. And I think all that Pete has done is just show me that the most constructive way about going about this is to join the council. I've got some ideas on how I can try and get some of the parents involved from the school and try and get some coordinated effort going. And I think it would be easier, and there would be more influence if I joined the council than if I did it by myself without the support of you guys and the people of the village. So that's the reason why I want to come in. I think the other thing I left out of my introduction as well is that I've lived in the village since 2011. So I've been in the village best part of 10 years. And, you know, I'm very passionate about this village. When I first moved here, I didn't expect to live here more than about 18 months, but we haven't wanted to move since because we love it here so much. And I want to make sure that other people's children don't go through the problems that I've had to go through with my eldest son and his transition, and find out there's no schools to go to. So that's why I want to come on board, to make it easier for other people in the long run.
All right, excellent. Mike, do you want to say anything? Or?
Which Mike? This Mike?
Yeah, Mike Joblin.
Yeah, welcome on board. Welcome to the sharp end.
Yeah, looking forward to it already.
Gillian.
Hi, I'm Jill. I think you've probably met. Our sons are in the same year at school. It's good to have you on board. It's good to have someone else who's kind of got school-age children, and so we can put a bit more focus on that kind of area. I think I've been a member of the council for a year-ish, about that. And I noticed that the schools issue is something that's come up over the last year or so, so it would be good to kind of have, I guess, a coordinated plan of action, and I'll be more than happy to support you in that, either as a councillor or as a parent at school.
Great, thank you.
Brilliant. Mark Caton, he is our vice chair.
Are you going to say something rude then for a second?
No.
Yeah, I do have a question, which is off the back of last month's meeting. There was quite some damning posts put on Facebook. I'd just like to know your opinion of the current parish council, please.
I've already explained to Peter, I don't have an opinion, and it wasn't a damning verdict at all. It was of the meeting, and I don't think I said anything outside of that meeting, or said anything about what you do or what you guys don't do. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of what was said afterwards, because I think other people said things that weren't particularly nice. But I hope that as a representative for keyboard warriors on the council, that hopefully I can knit us closer together with some of the other people outside of the council.
Okay.
I think what we have to do is things happen and we have to learn to move on and work together. And with Martin, my proposal will be for Martin to join the parish council. We can find a way of moving forward together. So I would like to formally propose Martin is co-opted onto the parish council as from this moment in time. I would need a seconder for that.
I'll second.
All in favour, could I see a show of hands? A clear show of hands? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, any abstentions?
Sorry, I didn't hear any of that. You froze up on me.
Are you in favour of Martin being on the parish council?
Yeah.
Yep, so we have unanimous for that. If Francis, you can
Can you see my hand?
paperwork. And what will happen is, Martin, tomorrow, later on, probably tomorrow, I'll organise you an email address as a parish councillor as well. Then the next thing we need to now move on to is on the agenda. We have declarations of interest, and I know Martin has one, but has anyone else got any declarations of interest for this agenda?
Not for me, Peter.
No.
No.
Martin, do you want to just say, or do you want me to do that for you?
No, I just know the applicant for planning quite well, so
Yeah, that's understandable. If you take no part of that conversation, please.
Peter, it might be best if I don't either then, because although I don't know them very well, I do.
Yeah,
That's
that's
in the same year still.
yeah, no, that's no problems at all. So if you can note that, please, Francis.
Yeah, we'll do.
Okay, hopefully you've all received the minutes. They were sent out quite early, and you've all had a chance to have a read of them.
Yep.
Is everyone happy with them?
Yeah.
Okay, because I have someone to nominate that they're okay. Mark, and a seconder, please.
Yeah, I'll get them.
Mike Bowman, all in favour?
Yep.
If I can see hands. Yep, it's a unanimous. Martin couldn't vote on that one. So we've received the minutes. Matters arising from the minutes not on the agenda elsewhere for information only. Does anyone have anything that they want to add to that? No? Okay. Moving on from that, we would normally adjourn for public consultation, but Alan's here more to do with item 8 as part of the emergency planning team. Unless you have something else you want to say, Alan, as a member of the community.
No, I'm happy with what's happening at the moment.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll move on. We had no one apply to come on to ask any questions this week, and that has been up. The offer has been up for the whole month. Okay, so I've got to give an update on the overflow arrangements for St. Peter's Primary and high school places. And what I'd like to start this with is that one of the things I feel is that we need to have coordination with regard to this. Even though parish councils don't normally get involved in education, we are a very developing parish and a lot is happening with this. And what I'd like to do is get Martin involved in a specific role. And most of us all have roles, like Gillian, you have the role of playgrounds, and everyone else has other parts. And I think with Martin's interest, and I know he's been through a bit of the ringer with regard to bureaucracy, I'd like to propose that he has a post of young persons advocate. So is looking towards dealing with things like the education, maybe at times helping Gillian out with regard to when the playgrounds come forward and other things, because we've got to engage with the young people of this village, making sure that we're providing a village for what they want as well. We've got to get the education right for them, because it may be long term that we're looking for a new high school in the area, and we have to look at ways of taking that forward. So what I'd like to do is propose, Martin, I should ask, how do you feel about being the young person's advocate?
It was hot off the press there, Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I've discussed with you, my main focus is all about seeing if we can sort out the problems that we face with getting our children into the right high school. That is something I really want to focus on, and if I can provide any help to Gillian going forward, that'd be fantastic as well.
Yeah. So I think under that role of young person's advocate, you will be advocating on behalf of these young people to get them into the right high school.
Okay.
How do people feel about that? Mark, Caton, any feelings, thoughts?
No, not immediately off the top of my head, to be honest with you. I think the young people of the village do need representation, but I also believe that needs to come from that age demographic as well. I had been approached by one young man in the village who was quite interested in setting up a junior council. Whether that's something which could possibly move forward with, I don't know. I've got no objection to it whatsoever. My own thought pattern is, to be within a parish council, we have to wear many hats at the end of the day. There's so much going on in the village of Easton. We all need to pull the rope in the same direction. But with that said, we also need to take on our own work tasks and delegate work out accordingly.
Yeah.
So I've got no issues with that.
Yeah.
I think.
Really?
Sorry, can I just cut in?
Yeah.
I think Mark's got a point actually, because it's the first. Obviously, you just saying about young person's advocates. Probably the first time I've heard it as well.
Yeah.
You get used to it with Peter after a very short time.
Thanks, Mark. I'm glad it's not just me, but I think you're absolutely right, Mark. I think my only query on that would be that it possibly should be someone younger. I don't think my sort of feeling as it settles in is perhaps a 44-year-old man shouldn't really be a young person's advocate, to be fair. Maybe there's something else that we could look at.
We could rename it. It was just the idea. But the thing is, I hadn't realised that we've got a young person who wants to bring forward young persons forum. And I think that's a really good idea. But it's having a link with someone to help them, to guide them to be able to do it. That's what we need to put together so that they can get the message across right, which would be very important. And that would be someone working alongside them to help them so they can get the education right, they can get the high schools right, they can get all of those sort of things right. And that sort of sits in with the sort of area I was thinking, unless Mark and Martin could work together on getting that, depending on your workload, Mark, because I know you're very busy at the moment.
I'm not going to dismiss anything. As you're all aware, I am self-employed and I'm in the construction industry, which is tough times at this particular moment. I do pull my weight at the end of the day with other matters as well. I'd obviously love to support what I can, but I can't give up any more time than what I already have.
I appreciate that fully. So the other way we can do it is we can look at the naming of a position and setting a role for Martin, because everyone else has got a secondary role apart from just being a parish councillor within the village. Like Mike Jobling is involved with the allotments and does a fantastic job there. Dave Lewis represents everyone in Lower Easton and gets the opinions there. So Mike's involved with the planning. Jan's involved with allotments and so many hats, it's crazy. And Gillian's got the playgrounds. So we'll think of a name in due course. It was just an idea to put forward. So it's more important that Martin's joined us as a parish councillor, and we can think about all the different parts. But I would like to try and bring forward this idea of a young person's forum as quickly as possible, because I think it's very, very important that something like that did come forward. We look to see if we could find some, if necessary, some funding to help support that. And is everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I was happy with most of it, but then you cut off again. But the other thing is whether we could set them up a bespoke Facebook page that you could then use to connect to other people. I'm sure there's people around, and I'm looking at one.
I think what we've got to do is talk to them, because Facebook is old hat for a lot of youngsters. They don't use it. They use
there's chit chat. There's all sorts of things that you can use. Yeah, it's just a generic name
or whatever. And the younger ones talk to penguins. Do they still do that, Gillian? Talk to the penguins?
I have no idea.
There are so many different ways. But,
well beyond me.
But I think we've got to get in touch with the young people and try and engage to take this forward. Okay, so I need to give you a quick update on exactly what I've been involved with regard to St. Peter's. Well, there is a reality here, is that I've spoken to Persimmons, I've spoken to Margaret Dewsbury. I'll talk about what Margaret Dewsbury's doing in a second. But what shocked me was when I spoke to Persimmons, the financial settlement from the building of 890 houses for Easton seems to be all geared towards the primary school. They are giving land to the village, and that will be for the primary school. The cash to build the primary school will come out of the education pot, and I think from my understanding, hopefully some of it will be funded out of the joint SIL, which is held between Norwich, Broadland and South Norfolk to build that. But I can't see any clear indication, and where Margaret Dewsbury's trying to find out exactly what money is there and will there be to support all these children wanting a high school. And so Margaret Dewsbury, I was hoping she was going to be able to be on, has written to the head of Norfolk County Council Education to find out what is going on and wanting statistics and all the other relevant information they hold, because there's no point in having more development if there's nowhere for the children to go to a school apart from the City Academy. Because I was also talking today with regard to another matter, which I'll bring up later, to the officer in charge of organising all school transport as part of his role. And it is, with now City Academy coming on board, is a big problem. And it's going to cost the taxpayer a huge sum of money, of extra money, because developers are, well, it's not the developers, it's the district and the county councils are not planning very well ahead for our education. And this is, I think, something Martin's learned very fast about, and hopefully he's going to be working with us to tackle this and getting a parent forum together to really hit home that the children of Easton deserve better than being second place, and especially with all this development, because there's now 1,000 houses going into Lodge Farm. So they've now decided it's a slight increase. It's 1,000 houses going in there. And that's going to have a lot of children with it as well. So the reality seems to be that as soon as you start building a class for 30 children of primary school age, from primary school to year 7, it's already filled up. And for every year 7 classroom you build, you've also got to build a year 8, a year 9, a year 10, a year 11 classroom. And the money's got to come from somewhere. There is a limited pot. Now, I asked Persimmons their feeling about getting involved, because this affects the house prices that they would be selling. And they said they've unfortunately learned to stay out of education, because where they put money in the past into schemes that they thought that was funding, it's been diverted by councils to fund other projects within education. So they were the ones left looking like they had done nothing, but they'd given the money across. So they just do what they're told as part of the planning. So they've been told to give the land, and then from my understanding, part of the SIL may go towards the building of the primary school, the new parts of the primary school. Now, what's interesting is once this is all done, my understanding, as it's an academy, which is a private business, the land and the buildings will then be handed over to a private business to have and control from then on. Loss of more public assets. So that is where we are at the moment. I'm hoping that with Margaret writing, Martin coming on board, we can actually start doing something about this terrible situation the young people of our village have been put in. Does anyone want to ask me any questions at this stage? No. Okay.
Could I ask one, Peter?
Yeah.
With you mentioning Persimmons, what is their position at this moment in time? Because I think on the last meeting
can I stop you there? Item 10 on the agenda.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll come to that in item 10.
Right.
All right. Is there any other questions with regard to primary education at the moment? No. Okay. So moving on, we'll hand over to Francis and to Alan for doing the review of the progress of the COVID-19 emergency plan. Now you got to turn your microphone on, Francis.
Is he muted?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just lost my connection. I think I've got all of that in terms of the last agenda item. So we're going to go and talk just quickly about the emergency plan.
Yep.
Okay. I'll very quickly just say as far as our little competition with Natasha, which was originally going to be funded from the emergency plan, that funding Natasha's found for the prize winners. Thank you to Jan and Mike for providing the winners for that, and that's gone all very well, apart from the fact that we didn't get the pictures up on the website, which I'll look into. I've got some stats from South Norfolk as far as the helpline goes. Alan, did you want to just say, before I just trot those out, did you want to say how you think things have been going for the last month since last meeting?
Absolutely. From the last month, we've had 5 requests for assistance. I'm not certain if we're getting 5 requests because other people have found various means of getting assistance. So therefore, instead of calling us, they've sourced other people to help. But we have 5 requests, and that we've maintained quite a low level at the present time.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, agree with that. It's been very well. We've only had 2 requests, and that's for medicine pickup. So, yeah, all very quiet
Right.
from our end.
In a sense, that's good. In terms of where we are from South Norfolk Stats, they have said that since the beginning we've had 33 requests in total. So it looks as if it's actually been dropping off if we've just had 5 in the last month. In terms of the percentage, those 33 out of a population of 1,500 in Easton means that we're looking at about 2%. The average for Norfolk is 1.8%. So we're very slightly above the traffic for Norfolk as a whole, which seems to demonstrate that actually it is a system that's in place, but hasn't been used as much as probably authorities thought it would. But that's not to say we shouldn't have put it in place. In a way, you think, oh, it's a bit disappointing that people didn't use it, but there may be issues with the contact and trace to come. We don't know where this is going to be in 6 months' time, and with people as they leave furlough, but may not have a job. So it's kind of watch this space, really.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. I think we've got to see what's going to happen over the next few weeks with the easing of restrictions on lockdown. We're still getting about 8,000 cases. I think that's new cases a week, which is still quite a lot. And we're still getting quite a few deaths. So we need to keep everything going just in case. And it's important that we do that. Now, one of the things that with this contact tracing, understand, Francis, you were looking at the idea of putting out another card to also help people where scams are concerned as part of.
Yeah, that's certainly the case. We discussed it, didn't we, Peter, in terms of it feels like there would be potentially a lot of scope for scammers to get involved with this. We don't seem to have, I can't find many details about exactly what the measures are going to be in place to stop scammers. We need to kind of understand that, but I think we need to, as a parish council, it would be useful to put out another postcard quite soon with the focus on that.
Okay. Hopefully, if I get Francis to start putting something together with regard to that, we can then, by the next meeting, decide if it's all okay and agree to put it out, because we can get them out quite quickly now from agreeing to it. Has anyone got any comment on that?
No, I think it's a good idea, actually.
I think especially for the older community, because I know some of you have nearly been caught on the scam where they think you're going to help the parish council out, and I see some councils have been actually caught on that scam and bought all those tokens or whatever they were, thinking they were doing that. So I think that would be a good idea. So if Francis, you could work on that, that'd be really good.
Yeah, and as before, I'll get a draft out so people can have a look.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we would need? I mean, that could take up one side of the postcard quite nicely.
Yeah, I think scam on one side and the key message, social distancing, the 2 meters, that the contact number if you're in problems, if you're worried, on the other side. So we've got a standard message for one side, which is all about how to stay safe. And then the other message, the other side, we've looked, previous ones have had domestic violence and so on. So we want to put on this one, the anti-scamming.
All
right. So if you could put something together and let us see it in due course. Okay, moving on from that, an update for the Highways England for the 847. At the moment, they're still collating everything. So I'm hoping by the end of next month, we'll have something that they've collated. It should be, when I spoke to James last, he was hoping to have everything by mid-June, to the latter part of June, everything collated and put together, because he's trying desperately to keep everything on schedule. Right, so next one we move on to Persimmons Homes development. I think was it Friday or Saturday, I received a recorded delivered letter from Persimmons Home via our clerk, which stated that they are now proceeding with meeting the requirements of planning application 2014-2611. I've copied in Sean Vincent into this so that he can have a look, because speaking to Sean earlier this evening, one of the things that we're finding a bit strange within the original outline planning application, it keeps talking about having to meet certain reserve matters, but they don't actually list the reserve matters. And there's no sentence in there that they say above reserve, talk about reserve matters, but it's not there. So Sean's looking into that for us, and so that we can establish what is going on with regard to that. I've had, as I said, I've had conversations with Alison at Persimmons and asking, has she sort of got any sort of schedule that's come forward at the moment? And at the present time, no, this is early days. They're going to try and push it all in and get it moving as quickly as they can. So that's where we are with Persimmons. I'll just quickly cover our planning application is waiting for the section 106 to be complete. Everything else is done, from my understanding, is just the section 106. That's taking the time. I think everyone's starting to get back to work properly now. So it's just some are working from home, some are working from the office, and it's tying it all up. So it is taking a bit longer, but we have got a lot of people pushing to get that done and through. So hopefully that'll be as soon as possible. I did want to, I'll share later on with you some images that I've received early evening with regard to the modelling for the new village hall. So I'll bring those up in a little while. I think you'll like them. So the next thing we need to, has anyone got any questions about Persimmons at the moment?
No, you did that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. The next item for discussion is Mark Caton and Francis Woodcock relaunch of the Facebook page. Has anything further been sorted, or do we need to defer that to next meeting?
Francis and I had a quick telephone conversation this afternoon about it. Really, it's where the councillors want the opportunity to go through the social media policy first, and then come back to us if there's any questions, or if they're happy for the Facebook page to take its role and provide information.
For me, I'd get it out. I'm quite happy with your take on the rules and regulations anyway, Mark. So the sooner we can get it out with the lockdown as it is, I think the better for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Mike Bowman?
Well, I don't use Facebook and I don't know much about it, so I'd have to be guided by others. So I'm happy to go with what Mark and Francis set up. I'm sure we're going to be led down the right path there. So I'm happy to run with that.
Okay. Dave?
Well, I don't use Facebook. I've never used it. I did did try it once and found it very intrusive, so I just abandoned it.
Okay. Do you have any views about the parish taking on Facebook?
I'm not really sure that it's necessary to use Facebook. I mean, I would have thought the parish council website was adequate.
Okay, that's a fair point. Jan, your views?
I don't use Facebook, but I think most people do. So yes, I'll go along with Mark and Francis on that.
Jill?
I'll just get myself
Yeah.
unmuted, sorry. Yeah, it's another option for people. I don't think people necessarily will go onto the website all the time, but with Facebook you get notifications, so it kind of comes to you rather than the other way around.
Yeah. Okay,
Good
that's
option.
fine. Yeah. Martin, what do you think of Facebook?
It's a cesspit. You shouldn't let people on there. It's very useful. I think if you've got a Facebook page, then it has to be regularly updated and it has to be monitored pretty carefully and administered really well. Or comments need to be looked at. So while it could be a good platform for giving off information, it can be quite a lot of hard work to keep on top of some of the comments that are on there, which you'll inevitably attract. So good luck with anyone who's looking after that, because it could be quite interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
My personal view is I can't personally stand it in this country. I've seen it used very successfully in New Zealand, where people are much nicer. But that's my viewpoint on the thoughts of Facebook. But if it's going to be well monitored and well looked after, I have no problems with that at all. So we've just got to approve the adjustment to our communications and social media policy in a minute. And then I think Mark and Francis should be left to get on with that and developing that, because they seem to know more about it than most of the rest of us, apart from probably Martin, whose job is involved in that.
I'm sure you guys know more about. I've gone through a lot more of it. I'm here if anyone wants to run anything past me, but I'm sure you guys have got it well handled, and you're well on top of it, and you know what to expect.
Yeah. I think we'd be taking you up on that offer, Martin, whether or not. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Francis and I were talking today, and we do see it as Facebook is that opportunity that it puts the information in someone's hand without them go looking for it. I'd like it linked to the parish council website, so things what are on there go back and forth between those two avenues. I think it will bring more traffic to the website. I am keen on keeping it moderated. Not every post has to have a comment to it. It can be for information only. I do look at other parish council Facebook pages. There's one or two which I'd like to model off that. They don't get bogged down into endless comments back and forth about nitty-gritty nothingness and things like that. Anything which is deemed as inappropriate or offensive can be removed. And I think we need to maintain that policing of the Facebook page as well. The thing I think for many is it's that avenue that you don't have to go looking for the information. Certainly at the present time, information is key, and without having to go looking for it, it's put in the palm of people's hands. That's where I'm seeing it.
No, that's no problem. And on that point, anyone listening, just to remind you, dog waste, if you want to report it, forget Facebook, go on to Fix My Street, report it there, and South Norfolk get the report of it and have to legally deal with it. So forget posting your pictures on Facebook of dog poo. Put it up, post your pictures of dog poo if you want on Fix My Street, and it will be legally dealt with. Okay, so we need to move.
Do we want a resolution, Peter? Just
yes,
to,
we need.
If you like, formally agree that we're going to kick off the Facebook page again and have it.
I was going to get that resolution. as I did work with 12, because we need to get the update to the communications and social media first before we can
Okay.
do resolution of that type. Okay.
That's fine. Okay.
So
Okay.
Francis, you've looked at our media and communications policy. What do we need to add so we can do this?
Okay, so basically, at the moment, the policy assumes that we have the Facebook page up and running. What we will do is we'll change the wording so that it's obviously it's more of using the medium to, if you like, direct queries and direct issues into the parish meeting. So it's going to be, we'll have to put a form of wording which we'll get around for people to see, to do that, as opposed to, say, to it being the talking shop. We've got disclaimers on there, which is fine in terms of what we won't do, what we won't accept, that we will kick off comments, etc., that are completely inappropriate.
Yeah.
But I think as well, it's laying out how we see the Facebook page being used, which is a way of, if you like, getting issues into a forum like this meeting, because this is a change from how we've worked in the past, and I think that's the important thing with Facebook. So it's getting the wording to be clear that when someone comes on, we're not getting involved in a great big long conversation about this, that, and the other. It's what, if we have an issue, we'll give you a short answer to that, and we will basically ask people to direct questions through to the agenda for a forthcoming parish meeting.
Okay.
Would you agree with that, Mark? In terms of
Yeah, I mean,
how we want to use
I've
it?
got the policy up in front of me straight off our website, and I mean, I see very little what actually needs changing.
We just need to add in the word Facebook.
It's on there.
It's on there.
Guidance for Facebook users.
So,
Yeah.
so the wording actually need to be changed then? Do we actually need a resolution?
I mean, it's social media as a group, isn't it?
Yeah.
Particularly Facebook, but I mean, social media is covered in there. There is about 3/4 of the way down, guidance for Facebook users, respectful, energised, consistent with council missions. It's there.
Yeah.
You know, threats, vulgarity, threats, and abusive language will not be tolerated. Different opinions and discussions of diverse ideas. It's there, Peter. It's there.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So really, France, I don't think we need a resolution for that.
Okay.
Unless you're saying it's illegal, we legally need to.
No, it's not legal. I mean, this is a policy. So effectively, we on the website, it's identified as a draft policy. So basically, if nothing else, we're taking the word draft off it, and it
Okay.
becomes our
Yeah,
policy.
that's fair enough.
So
we'll
I think the thing is, it's just to really, I mean, we are focusing on Facebook, so we're not setting up a Twitter account or anything like that, are we? I mean, it's purely concentrating on Facebook, and it's just really then to have, let's say, to be clear on what we're expecting people who are going to use the site to do.
Yeah.
And it just may be a tinkering of the wording for that. Because we may need to shut things down. That it is in the wording, but it just might be, we could just clear that. But I'll go through with Mark, and we'll go through it kind of line by line on that.
I think
aspect.
what we need to do is resolve to move our social media policy from a draft to a formal policy, and I'll propose that we move from draft to formal as it stands, and like. Anyone to second me on that?
Second.
All in favour?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, unanimous. Excellent. Okay, so the next thing is a quick resolution that we allow Mark and Francis to relaunch the Easton Parish Council Facebook page. I'd like to propose that. Seconder, please.
I'll second.
All in favour?
That was Jan, wasn't it? Jan, you seconded
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Unanimous. Okay, moving on, planning applications and matters to be brought before the planning committee. As you've all been aware that we've had a planning application in, what I'll do is I'll bring it up on what we call shared screens. So just give me a chance to do that. Share. Hopefully you're all seeing my screen. Are you all seeing my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've had a planning application in, and it's for 22 Cardinal Close, where they want to put forward the idea of slightly extended what was a garage, but they make it a day room and have a utility room behind. So they put in some very good plans, and I'll just bring up the other plan that they have. Let me just find that. And I thought this was a very useful one because it has the photographs of how it looks at the front, how it looks at the front. You can see these photographs? Yeah. And at the rear. I see no problems with this at all. Mike, if we start with yourself, you've had a chance to have a look at it.
Yeah, I mean, we can't deal with this as we would normally do by visiting the site, etc. So we've had to take it on the plan, which is as well because it's very simple. And I think the side elevation on the new build is going to be less imposing than the pitch roof on the old. I can't see any problems with it whatsoever. The only thing, as you suggested, that they will lose possibly a parking space. They're going to lose what, 2.7 something meters.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if that was dealt to be a problem, that's the only thing that the neighbourhood plan would get involved in, or you know, it would be interested in. But no, I think it's fine. It's going to give them a lot more space. You know, it's obviously okay with the neighbours. So, you know, from Linda's point of view and my point of view, we've said yes, we would recommend that it went through.
Okay. Jan?
Yes.
Thoughts? Yeah, you happy with it?
Yes.
Mark?
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah. And then we go down our list. We get who else we got? Denise. Dave, any comments?
No, it looks fine. I suppose as long as the car parking space is adequate in the front,
Yeah.
not out to anything obstructive, that's fine.
Okay. Mike?
Yeah, I see no problem with it at all.
Yeah. Okay. I think that I'd like to propose that we accept this planning application, let South Norfolk know we have no opposition to it. However, I think the point with regard to, because we can't go out and measure it, is just to make sure there is enough car parking available for two cars at that property, because it looks like they're on an end circular. I don't know where people park their cars in there.
Right where your hand is on the mouse.
Right. Okay. But technically, if he wanted to, he could remove that piece of hedge and make a hard surface there as well, or a person in the future who owned a property. But I think we just highlight it to South Norfolk and let them deal with that. But I see no problems with the actual design whatsoever. It's just making sure there is enough car parking available after it's built. I do think they've missed an opportunity though, that, but it's not for South our comments to South Norfolk, that the utility room could have an internal door so that people don't have to go outside in winter months when it's pouring with rain to go to the utility room. That would be just my personal thought. I'm sure they'll have thought about that.
You probably find that that'll creep in anyway, I would think.
I would hope so. I think it would be a good thing to do. So I just need to, I propose this go through. Seconder for it.
Yeah, second if you like. Can I do that?
Yeah. All in
Yep.
favour?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's 6 yeses then.
Well, it's not 6. It's 1, 2, 2, 4, 5, because Martin and Gillian cannot vote on this one.
Yeah, and I don't have it would be 9 councillors. Get my maths right, Peter. it would be 9. There's no Mark and there's no Gillian and Martin on this.
Yeah.
That's 6.
Yeah. Okay.
6. Anyway.
2, 4. I can only see 5 people. Who have I lost? Jan.
Jan.
Oh, sorry. I've lost Jan on my
Yeah, I've lost
screen.
Jan as well. Actually, I can't see you on my.
All right, no problems.
Yeah.
Jan, were you happy with everything on that? Sorry.
Was.
Yeah. Okay, no problem. So we'll move on from that one. I'll take off shared screen. Can't even say it now. Shared screen, and move on from that. I did think it was a very good idea how the architect put the photographs in on the plan. Made life an awful lot easier. So let's see where we're up to now. Okay, we've got no other planning matters in. So we'll adjourn for a second for public participation. Alan, have you got anything you want to add or say?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you very much, Peter.
Okay, we're closed from public participation. We're moving nice and speedily through our meeting. Financial matters. For resolution, ratification of a quote for the architect's fees. These are fees that we agreed, but we have to just go through the formal process on this. So Francis, do you just want to mention that one?
Sorry, Peter. What did you want me to say in relation to this?
The amount of money that where ratification of a quote, you've put this in, ratification of a quote for architect's fees for new village hall.
Sorry, Peter. Yeah, I don't have the figure. I'm presuming you were going to lay the figures out. We can. I'm thinking if I can get access to them quickly.
Right. I thought you would. My apologies. I thought that was your section. When you said earlier today that you would handle all the financial.
Oh, sorry. Right. No, I was going to talk about the financial position, but not this one. Sorry. That's big.
I will find it now.
Yeah.
It is fine. Okay, I've just bringing it up now. Okay. The invoices for putting together stage 1 and stage 2 is a total of 3,300, which was the agreed sum. There's VAT of 660, but we get that back. So I will show you what has been put through. So I'll just share the screen with you all again. So it's the phase 1, phase 2. And this was the agreed figure. I'll show you near the end some plans that we have had through. But we're nearly there with state. We've got some work with Oxbridge and possibly Field and Morrison to tie up everything to take to South Norfolk. All right. Does anyone have any questions they want to ask with regard to that fee note? Just want ratification. I'd like to propose it that that we're all in agreement that that's what we agreed to pay and that's what we should be paying.
We paid it, Peter.
We paid it. So,
We've already paid it.
so why are we doing a ratification? I just want to understand this.
Well, is this going forward in terms of future
All right.
future payments that are going to be needed? I mean, we've got. I mean, we'll come on to it in the financial summary. We had a balance brought forward of 18,800 in terms of new village hall contingency or earmarked funds.
Yeah.
So we've agreed, if you take the VAT off, we've agreed this 3,300, and we paid that, leaving 15.5 or 15,563 left. So it's just really, is there anything more that's going to come out?
Yeah, well, yes,
from
because
that in the foreseeable future?
when we put the tender through, there was the Oxbury, which is where we have to get a company which costs everything out. We can't go into detail of what that is at this stage because it's financially sensitive and not for public consumption at this moment because we haven't gone out to tender. What we need to do is we've got to have Oxbury bill. I think that was about 1,200, and then we also have to look at the highway side of things, and there was some topographical work that was all mentioned within the tender report that was agreed with the finance committee. So that will probably take us up to just over another £3,000, which is slightly less than what we were thinking within the tender we'd have to pay at this stage. And then that stage 1, stage 2 becomes a package to be presented to South Norfolk for them to pay. And it looks like they'll be paying 75% of whatever it's going to cost to build at this moment in time.
Where have you got that from, Peter?
What, 75%?
Yeah.
Yeah. What it's from is that the investigations that have been done and confirmed with our solicitor, Nick Norton, is that they wanted to compare it to Lodge Farm.
Okay.
Which is a 400 square meter development. We have we're proposing a 536 square meter build, so it works out 75-25 split on cost.
Okay.
To do the whole thing, so that's where that figure comes from. The extra above what they would say that they would fund for the number of houses that we've got coming is a 400 square meter. The developer on the Lodge Farm tried to make the village, they wanted the community centre to be smaller because they hadn't budgeted for the full cost of it. And they were told, no, it had to be that size for the housing. So
based on that number of housing for Lodge Farm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've got a very strong legal argument of it 75-25 split.
I pity South Norfolk in that meeting with you then.
Well, I like to have fun on that, but I'm sure
a different figure previously, but yeah, 75. I'm happy. That would be
yeah,
nice win.
Yes, I'm sure Mr. Courtier will be doing his best to find the financing for this in the very near future.
Sleepless nights already, I'm sure.
Yes, and we move forward from there. All right. So, do we need actually a formal resolution, Francis? Because this is already agreed.
If we've
it was agreed through the finance.
With the fact that we did.
Yeah.
If we've got the amount coming through, I don't think we do we, Mark? In terms of, I mean, we know we've got enough money in contingency.
Yeah, I mean, that's in earmarked for New Village Hall, so that's not the issue. It's just I went through all my notes and went through the minutes, and albeit we'd accepted to instruct WT Designs, I didn't see anything in there giving the figure. It was acceptance of instructing WT Designs, but it didn't mention exactly how much to get to stage 2. So I just felt it would be prudent just to put it through.
Yeah, it was actually within your pack of appendices of all the quotations that were given for all parts of it.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right and
It
correct.
was all there.
Yeah, but like I said, I could see nothing in the F&G minutes stipulating agreement of X.
Yeah, okay.
If it's fine that we've accepted to instruct WT Designs, and within that pack the figure was there, there's no need to do it again. But if there's any question over that, I think that would be prudent to do it again.
Yeah, I can send. The pack contained everything, all the quotations, all the different parts of it. It was all there. It's all been forwarded to our solicitor as well as part of the pack that's the legal pack that's going to South Norfolk of the tender process, because we had to follow a very strict tender process, and all the tenders are with it.
Okay. As long as that's all the boxes are ticked. All I'm trying to avoid is a demographic to trip us up in the future.
Yeah, no, that was all part of the tender, and the tender was agreed that we've used WT Design for that tender, and part of that tender had all the stipulated costs, as well as within the main part of the tender, it did talk about the attached associated costs.
Yeah.
I can bring up the tender if you want at the moment. Would that help you?
Would you like a proposal from me that we agree that we've discussed everything in detail, and we'd like to formally agree that we can carry on with the way we're going?
I don't know if that would sit as a resolution, Francis, but what do you want to do?
If it's been accepted and we're watertight on it, there's no need to do it again.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly we have agreed. We've agreed we'll utilise the monies on the figures you give them. It's about 7.5 in total. I mean, we've got plenty of money left within the reserve. So in that sense, we're fine. And I think if you'd said, Peter, well, it's going to cost it's going to cost 20,000 to get through stage 1 and 2, then obviously we'd have to have a resolution on that, because we wouldn't be.
Well, no,
but we're fine. I mean, we're certainly within the money's available. We probably don't. There might have been a bit of confusion on that. I think, and we could have a proposal to keep within 10,000 for stage 1 and 2 if you need that. But if that's going to clarify the matter.
What I've done is I've just shared a screen with you. Have I shared my screen yet? No. Is my screen shared with you?
No, not yet.
No.
All right, hold on. This is the tender document, and as you'll see, we went through everything, and we have all the quotations from the different firms, all attached as appendices. I will just go down to where we discussed what one would call the extras, and that was all formed part of the main tender document. So we discussed the costings of using each firm. It was then broken down further into through SWOT analysis of who was going to be right for this. So we looked at all the costings. We looked at the service costs. We looked at what the actual physical estimated build cost would be. We looked at the stage 1 and 2, so a total cost for the concept design, 3,300. That's the figure that they came up with. And that was what was agreed. And then we went on and explained all the other parts of any costs there of who we should use. And there we came up with, we would have to engage a quantity surveyor, and that was up to about 2,700, but I don't think it's going to be that at the moment. And then we'd have topographical as well as highway engineer work done, which is 1,200 and 1,500. So that all form part of the main tender document. So everything, so it has been voted on and has been agreed as part of the main tender document. Are you satisfied now, Francis?
No, I'm fine. So I think there's just been a bit of miscommunication, Peter, is exactly what was needed on this one. If we're well within the limits of what was agreed, so that's absolutely fine. We don't need a further resolution on it. I mean,
Okay.
it's good that we've discussed it and everyone's clear where we are.
Yeah.
At the moment. Yeah.
All right. Because we can't have resolutions and stuff we've already agreed to spend money on. We've already spent money on. You know, that would be crazy. So what we need to now move on is for discussion, arrangements for signing off re-decision making between meetings. Francis, you raised this one.
I think this was just with the obviously with the situation we're in between with our meetings once a month, the fact that we don't have a finance and governance meeting, whether if you like the month is that too long in case we need to make quick decisions, and what we should be doing if we do need to make quick decisions. And as far as the rules, the Coronavirus Act go, basically the rules are that everything should be, if you like, in terms of time frame, should be as was the old way, physical face-to-face meetings, but now we should be having video conference meetings. We do the same job later on in the year, or whenever we get to meet, we'll finally sign off things like all the minutes that we're to agree what's actually been said at meetings. So at some point we'll have a long list and we'll just go through and formally tick everything off. But I think the problem is if we've got to make quick decisions on things now, how do we want to do this? And one of the ways is to, for instance, we could, if we needed to, call extraordinary video conference meetings, and if so, then looking at what the Coronavirus Act says, it would be it's really the requirement would be we'd need our 3 days notice in the same way we would if we were to hold an extraordinary general meeting.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what we have been doing so far. This is all what we've actually covered. Both the chair and the vice chair have authority under our current rules for, I think it's about £500 we can spend if need be in an emergency. So I think we're covered. Anything more than those sort of figures, we'd want a proper meeting. So I think that's fine. I don't think we need to change anything further, because if we need to spend more, we give 3 days notice and we have a meeting. If you're going to spend over £500, you're going to have a bit of a window to do that in. It's not going to be, something which is so major. And if it was so major, it's probably something to do, our insurance company would be involved in it, So I don't think we've got any concerns over that side of it. Mark, how do you feel?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I really don't have anything else to add to it as such. I think possibly if my own personal opinion is if video meetings, which I do quite enjoy at the minute, to be honest with you. I think that's a good move forward, and I love seeing your computer screen, to be perfectly honest with you. But where 2 hours in front of a computer in a meeting can wear on people, and I was just pondering the idea whether there's a housekeeping meeting which gets all the must-dos done and out of the way, and then anything which requires more in-depth stuff, which is going to start coming up, like persimmon, the ESCO elements and things like that, that we possibly do that separately with the secondary meeting or something like that, and try to keep that no more than an hour or so.
Yeah, we can try. So you would like to go to meetings once every couple of weeks?
No.
I'm trying to work out what you're looking for.
No, it's just I mean, I don't know how others feel, but I made a comment at the start of all this that we should be keeping this brief, to the point, housekeeping style. Although with everything what's going on in and around Easton, our housekeeping bill is immense.
We are doing very well. You know, it's only 8:45.
Yeah,
And I don't even think I could take what's left on the agenda for another 45 minutes.
Well, I'm not going to lay you down the challenge. I'll tell you that now. So no, it's I don't know how others feel. Like I said, it's wary to be on the PC for 2 hours and keep energized with it. Keep everything in mind. It's just a thought. It's not anything I'd want to propose and carry forward, because I still have to live in the village and I can see 7 other faces giving me the evil.
I think it's just working at the moment.
Keeping it housekeeping style and dealing with other matters.
There's a lot of little things that go on where we are doing housekeeping and are sorted out. So I feel if things change and get more detailed, then we bring this back in.
I'm mindful of the fact things like persimmon with
I understand.
Matters, they're going to start to weigh heavy.
They will do, but I think with the expertise we're developing between us, and also we have a consultant on board in the name of Sean Vincent, you know, that will make our life easier. So he's well remunerated, so let's make him work for his money.
Absolutely. But obviously if he comes back to us with war and peace, with things, we've still got to work through that ourselves as well. You know,
we have done very well so far. All we've done, you know, we've got, you know, the village has achieved an awful lot. The 10-meter boundary, you know, all of those things have been achieved, and they've made a lot of concessions now. So we just need to keep plodding on that. So we'll leave that. We'll put it to rest at the moment, and then bring it back if it needs to in the future. Okay, we need to approve the payments for June. Francis, I didn't see the payments for June passed out.
They were in the finance file, Peter, that I sent out.
Right. All right. So that's probably just me then.
And I sent a copy to Mark this evening, just on the page.
Francis, they were sent out with a previous pack in an earlier email in May, around the 21st or something.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I'm bad. Okay.
And so I think you were both happy with those. I mean, the biggest one being the
yes,
WT designs.
It's coming back to me now. Yes, I did see them. I responded
additionally to that, Francis.
So you're fine with those?
I think I replied at the time. I was fine with those ones. Is there anything being added to it?
Not to that. No. We did have the CGM. You got the CGM, but that again, you approved that one. And I mean, just to say, do you want me to quickly go through that? Everyone's seen or has been given the, if you like, the financial summary.
All right, I'll just put it on.
If you want to keep within the time, we can
very, very quickly, because I want to show to Mark we can finish quickly.
Okay, so basically, in terms of what we have then, I mean, finances, we have in the bank, we have 55,500, 15,710 of that would be a general fund. We've always said we want to keep our general fund and our contingency balance above 15. So basically, we are due some VAT, and I shall be sending another VAT return off, and I'll probably send the previous ones as well, just to, I don't know, I mean, it took ages to get the last lot off HMRC. That money it's a definite. It's not as if there's any query with that. And just to say, in terms of then, I've mentioned for the New Village Hall monies that we've now spent 3,300, so we've got a balance of 15,500. And at the moment, the monies that we paid to ASBAG for our consultancy, that £2,000 is coming out of our just coming out of our general funds.
But once we receive the monies on our land, that will then get transferred to take that up.
That's fine then, Peter. I mean, I think the thing is there will be an exercise we will need to do in terms of looking at the finances in detail when we get that money in. So it's almost like we're treading water at the moment.
Yeah.
But any council would love to tread water with 55,000 in the bank.
Yeah. Okay. That's no problem. So has anyone got any questions they want to ask of Francis with regard to that? No, everyone's quiet. Excellent. That did a good job on that. Thank you very much, Francis, for that. A correspondence received and response or actions required. I've got one piece of correspondence which I received today from Margaret Dewsbury, and on behalf of the Parish Council, I have asked some questions so that we could start moving the ball forward. And it's referenced that we've been told that the Harford Park, at the Harford Park and Ride, they have a car boot sale, which runs every Sunday when we're in normality. Great surprise to the local parishes that we suddenly hear that the car boot is moving to the Cossey Park and Ride from the 5th of July. We have, Cossey, Bulborough, Marlinford, Colton and Easton have all asked why we were not involved in this process, why we weren't, nothing was discussed, and we haven't been given any advance notice. And we've written to Graham Bygrave, Tom McCabe, the senior people at South Norfolk. We've asked the following questions, because we believe this could have a major negative impact on our community. Because I spoke to Martin Stringfellow today, that whilst in discussions with him, but no final decision had actually been taken place. So it looks like the car booters have jumped the gun on this. I've asked them to advise us why they've chosen not to discuss this matter with the local communities that will be affected if this proposal is given approval. I've stated to them the Longwater interchange is at or over capacity, depending on who you speak to at this time. This proposal will bring further traffic misery to our local community, because they're not just talking about a Sunday opening, they're talking about a Saturday opening as well. So that is a concern. I've asked, have South Norfolk planners been involved in the decision-making process? Does this proposal not require some form of planning and licensing approval? Because the only use that Park and Ride is allowed for is the bus service at the moment to the university and the hospital. It's got no other uses it can be used for. How does this fit? I've asked, how does this fit in with South Norfolk's strategic plan for the area? I've asked, have you considered the highway conditions in place in relation to Lodge Farm Estate planning approval as part of your consideration? Because they want to put a teardrop roundabout in there. That means that there be even more pressure on the roundabout at the Sainsbury's side. So that's a major problem. I've also asked them, have they considered the highway conditions in place in relation to planning application that's been brought forward by Persimmon Homes? I've asked them, have they considered the effects of the extra traffic while developing a safe pedestrian and cycle route across the A47? I've asked them, have they considered the effects of this extra traffic on the days in which the showground has major events on? How many extra vehicle journeys will be created in the local area? What traffic modelling has been completed with regard to this proposal? I've asked, what are the extra noise issues related to a 5:30 start on site for those using the temporary traveller and gypsy transit site next to the Cossey Park and Ride? What mitigation will be required and who will be paying for this? I've stated Easton is likely to see extra traffic movements through the village as well as rat running through the surrounding villages. What mitigation is proposed to prevent this from happening? And I've asked for Easton Parish Council would like to request a formal meeting with the decision makers before any approval is considered so that the voice of our community can be heard and all the above points have been answered. Hopefully I've covered everything. It seems to be for the other parishes that I have, and they want the answers to these questions. And I think we deserve the answers. If they can give us the traffic modelling to say there'll be no problems, I wouldn't see an issue. But from my understanding, this this car boot creates a huge amount of traffic. And with what's happening with that teardrop roundabout, that would create even more and cause major concerns, especially on a Saturday and a Sunday on a junction, which I understand can be absolutely foul at weekends, even though I haven't seen it for quite a long time. And I got told today the bridge has actually been, they put some chipping down on the bridge. Is that right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it for so long. So, you know, don't know what's happening there, but apparently I'm allowed out now. So that's where we are with that. We'll wait responses. As soon as I start receiving responses, I'll pass it around to yourselves, and then we can form an opinion of where we are with this, whether we should support it or we should be saying no to it. But at the moment, they haven't even given us the opportunity of the facts and the figures relating to this. And this is what we'll be asking for before it goes live on the 5th of July. I don't know how you social distance and do things with COVID-19 in a car boot sale. You know, it's because people are touching everything, and it's like a new pandemic waiting to happen. So does anyone want to ask any questions in relation to that one at this stage? Are you all happy to wait for what answers they come back with first?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the only correspondence that I've had and the actions that I've dealt with so far. Agenda items for the next meeting.
Peter, can I just interject? Sorry. In terms of Margaret Dewsbury's June report, so I've had correspondence on that. Do you want to go through that now, or should we just put that up on the website?
Well, it's a lengthy.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I think we just put it up on the website because it's more just for people to read. So we'll put that on the website for what's been happening at county level. So anyone who wants to see it can see it. And that would be something that our new Facebook page would be able to share in due course. I got that little look up from Mark. Okay, so our agenda items for the next parish meeting, I take it all the standard things? Yeah. Anything extra we want to add? Martin, shall we keep the school item going so that if we start getting some feedback from people?
Yep. I've got got an ongoing discussion with Jo Burridge still at the moment, and talking to her about seeing if we can get some kind of Zoom meeting together for parents.
Yeah.
So I could probably try and update on that if we've got it to happen between now and then.
Yeah, so we will do whatever we can to support the parents, because it is unfair on what has happened. And I think the primary school needs to be more honest about how long it could be before the younger children will get into Ormiston Victory.
Yeah, I think that the main thing is to try and get as many parents as possible interested in it across all the age groups that will be affected over the next 4 years or so, and try and get them to start thinking ahead, because it's so easy to leave it to the last minute and find you have no options left.
Yeah, I think people need to understand what the truth is there, and we need to get a full and truthful picture out of the education department of exactly when Ormiston will be able to take the children again from Easton, if ever.
Yeah, well, we know from the results of our own appeal today and some of the others, I don't believe any more than one Easton pupil who lives in Easton has got into Ormiston Victory.
Okay, that is dreadful.
I mean, Easton St Peter's pupils will be going to Ormiston, but they are based at the further down the road towards the school. Ormiston Victory Academy only took pupils up to 1.2 miles away from the school, and obviously Easton, being 2.1 miles away, never stood a chance of getting their pupils into that school. So unless you lived on the side of Queen's Hills, it was very, very close to the Ormiston Victory, or you lived on the Hampdens, you were never going to get into that school at all unless you had a sibling already in there.
Yeah, and the siblings will be going, we'll work our way through the siblings in the not too distant future. So there'll be even fewer from Easton, and all that will be happening is they'll end up being sent elsewhere. There is the idea that we do want to work with Margaret Dewsbury on potentially a satellite secondary school within the area, and maybe developing some conversations with City College Norwich, and maybe some of the other academies where something could be put together.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea, and also I think we need to get some kind of certainty from Ormiston Victory Academy, because it's not fair that they retain Easton St Peter's Academy as a feeder school within the catchment, but have really no intention through their application rules of ever taking Easton pupils in at all. No. So there needs to be some transparency and honesty from Ormiston Victory Academy as well, I believe. Yeah,
no, that's we will work on that, and we'll support you and the parents to getting that information. Okay. All right.
Martin, I was going to say, could you maybe put me into that Zoom meeting if that's possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we only got to the point where I've been swapping messages back and forth with Jo, and trying to match up suggestions with each other. And her suggestion was to try and get some kind of Zoom meeting together, and to try and get some parents together. And it'd be useful to get some support on that, so we can get as many people, like you say, sort of all patched into it.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been in touch with Jo anyway, but it's good to keep in the loop, because I'm a few years further down the line, but it'd be good to.
Yeah, that'd be good if we could. It'd be good if we could get to talk at some point anyway, and try and coordinate going forward. Yeah.
Okay. Definitely. Well, I've just seen Margaret Dewsbury's joined us. I don't know if she can hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you. The thing is, I've really just got this far, and when it comes to seeing it, it still only shows out.
Don't worry. Yeah, don't worry about that. What I want to do is say that we have been discussing a lot of what's been taking place. Martin Betts has joined the parish council, and what I'm going to organise for him to do is be chatting to yourself about all the educational sides of things. I don't know if you've had a response from your letter with regard to your requests yet.
No, I haven't done anything about that yet, because I thought you had to go further with this until I read the meeting tonight, until I read
Okay.
the minutes tonight. But it's something I will deal with tomorrow.
Right, what I'll do is I'll give Martin all your details and get Martin to contact you, and if you can work with Martin on this, so that he's going to be getting the parents as well, looking to get the parents involved in this as well, so we can really bring a force of action together to resolve this issue.
Okay.
All right, that would be great.
Yeah, look forward to talking to you, Margaret.
Yeah,
We're
okay.
also, Margaret, going to put up what you said about your county council role, what you've been doing on the website.
Okay, I thought that was a lot easier than wasting your time.
Yeah. So we'll get that up on the website. That would be really good. Other than that, we've now finished for the evening. Finished
Can I
half an
just
hour
ask,
early.
the park and ride, so you know, the what's it called, the sale ground, the sales moving on to the,
Yes, the car boot. I have mentioned that to everyone, and I see I've just had an email come in, copying me into an email from Timmy's to Graham, so I've got to have a read through that and work out what is actually happening. And because he hasn't come back to me with any answers yet, so I think we've really got to put some pressure on to get some answers with regard to that.
Yeah.
All right.
Peter, can I interject? Nothing to do with this, just an extra. The playgrounds, we've had a couple of requests, people saying when they're going to be reopened.
When the government decide.
Exactly. Well, that's what I've told them.
Yeah.
But we've had police on the Jubilee Park for teenagers and alcohol, if you weren't made aware of that.
No.
The weekend.
Okay. Did the police attend?
They attended, yes, and they spoke to the 3 that were left up there. That's only what I heard third hand.
Okay.
At first hand, the police did come up and deal with them, and they left shortly afterwards.
Okay. And I take it these young people were over 18?
Yes.
Well, they shouldn't have been on the park anyway. So we may have to look at finding out who they are and dealing with them through trespass, and keeping them away. I don't even know if they were villagers. Were they villagers?
Oh, I don't know. No more information than that.
Okay.
I don't think they all were. I believe one is.
Yeah.
Rest I don't know.
Okay. I think all we can do is keep an eye on it, and and get the police involved every time, so the police take action against them. But the park is closed until the government say it can be open. That's the law. We have to follow the law. Sorry to members of the community who don't wish to do that, but as a parish council, we're legally required to keep it locked until the government tell us to unlock it. Does that answer that okay, Mike, for you?
Well, no, I just wanted a broadcast.
Yeah, no,
I knew the answer, but needed a broadcast.
Yeah, well, hopefully I've broadcast it clear enough to everyone that we have only got it locked because the government has legally told us to lock it. It's not what we would like to do, but it is for yours and your children's safety. It is locked. Okay. On that note, we'll end the meeting. I'll thank you all very much for attending, and we'll all be in touch soon. And great that Martin's on board with us. All right. Thanks a lot. Take care. All right, good night.
Bye. Bye. Bye.